The gentle morning light streamed through the living room curtains, creating a tranquil atmosphere that starkly contrasted with the turmoil brewing inside me. I sat at my office desk, a steaming mug of coffee in one hand, the other flipping through papers Sarah had asked me to organize. It should have been an ordinary day. The familiar routine usually soothed me, but a disquieting feeling gnawed at my peace. While reviewing the documents, a small envelope caught my eye. Partially concealed beneath a stack of papers, it beckoned with an almost irresistible pull. DNA exam was boldly printed on the outside. My heart pounded. Why would Sarah have a DNA test here? Anxiety surged, yet curiosity overpowered me. I opened the envelope and unfolded the paper. The words leaped out, screaming the truth. Paternity test, negative result. My world shattered. The children I loved, raised, and believed to be mine were not. The realization hit me like a physical blow, a gut-wrenching mix of anger and confusion. How could Sarah hide this? A torrent of questions flooded my mind. I rose abruptly, the chair groaning under the weight of my decision. I had to confront her. I could no longer live a lie. I walked to the bedroom where Sarah was calmly organizing toys scattered across the floor. The sun illuminated her face, and for a fleeting moment, I saw her happiness. That image instantly dissolved, replaced by searing pain. Sarah. My voice was louder than intended. She turned, surprised. "What is it, Nathan?" she asked, a smile that quickly faded as she saw my expression. "We need to talk, now." She hesitated, but the seriousness in my eyes convinced her. She followed me into the living room. I firmly closed the door, as if the action itself could contain the impending revelation. "I found this," I said, holding up the DNA test. "What does this mean?" Sarah's composure crumbled. The color drained from her face, revealing her inner struggle. "Nathan, I can explain," she began. But I didn't want excuses. "Explain? How can you explain that my children aren't mine?" Anger burned, mingling with pain. "Please listen to me," she pleaded, tears welling in her eyes. "It was a mistake, an impulsive decision. I never wanted you to find out like this. An error." "Sarah, this isn't a mistake. It's betrayal." The words were venomous. "Who is the father?" Silence hung heavy, deafening. Finally, she whispered, "Mark. He's the father." The name hit me like a bomb. Mark, Sarah's ex-boyfriend. I recalled her nostalgic references to him, an unfinished chapter in her life. "Did you have a relationship with him while we were married?" I asked, trembling with rage. "That's not how I wanted things to happen," Sarah sobbed. But there was no room for compassion. The pain was too deep. I needed answers. "I will find out the truth, Sarah. I'm not letting this go." I left her there, in the suffocating silence, each word emptying an unbearable weight. The trust, the foundation of our relationship, crumbled into 1,000 pieces. The room was silent, the air thick with anticipation. I took a deep breath, gathering courage. This meeting had been looming for days, but with each passing moment, the weight of the truth intensified. I looked out the window. The cloudy sky mirrored my inner turmoil. It was time to confront Sarah, to expose her betrayals and lies. When she walked in, that smile that once comforted me now sent a chill down my spine. It was hard to believe the woman I loved could deceive me so profoundly. "Nathan, are you okay?" she asked, genuine concern in her voice. But I knew it was a facade. "We need to talk, Sarah, about the DNA test." The firmness in my voice surprised even myself. Her smile vanished, replaced by fear. "You know what I'm talking about," she stammered, her expression shifting from surprise to despair. "Nathan, please. Don't tell me." I couldn't contain the boiling anger. "Our children, Sarah, they're not mine." The words hung in the air, a slow, spreading poison. Sarah recoiled, the color draining from her face. I did it out of love, Nathan. I thought you'd never need to know." Her voice cracked, her hands trembled. "For love? You destroyed everything. How can you—" Frustration exploded into a scream. And now you want me to believe this ex-boyfriend, Mark, is the solution? That he can help raise our children? She looked lost, tears streaming down her face. Nathan, I never wanted this to happen. I just wished they had a father. And Mark, he's always been a part of my life. He returned to the city. You want me to accept him? To let him become the father I never was? I was furious. Every word was a knife. You cheated on me, and you're trying to make me feel guilty? That's not how I see it. I just wanted them to have a stable home, she whispered, despair lacing her voice. I didn't want you to find out this way. And what do you think I should do now? Smile and accept? I'm going to the police, Sarah. This is fraud. You need to face the consequences. The ensuing silence was deafening. I knew my decision was drastic, but the pain was unbearable. The trust shattered. The room was silent, heavy with anticipation. I took a deep breath, trying to summon my courage. The courtroom loomed, the weight of truth pressing down. I looked out the window. The gray sky mirrored my turmoil. It was time to face Sarah, to reveal everything. The day arrived, the weight of the truth almost palpable. Friends, family, and lawyers filled the room. All eyes were on me as I approached the plaintiff's bench. Sarah sat opposite, small and desolate, a shadow of her former self. The atmosphere was thick with formality and tension. Each step felt like the ground was shifting beneath me. "Are you ready for this, Nathan?" my lawyer whispered, but I couldn't answer. My throat tightened. I had to fight, but all I wanted was to protect my children. It's okay, I thought. I'll do what's best for them. The judge entered, and a respectful silence fell. The hearing began, words flowing, but my mind wandered. I watched the prosecution detail Sarah's betrayal, her deception of me and everyone who loved the children. Each word was a blow to my heart. I scanned the faces in the room, searching for support, but everyone seemed as lost as I felt. "I demand custody of the children," my lawyer declared, the words echoing in my mind. Custody, a weighty term. How could I ensure their safety? Sarah looked at me, her eyes filled with anger and despair. "Nathan, you don't have to do this," she whispered. But the intensity of the situation drowned out any sincerity. The defense attorney began, painting a picture of our loving home. But I knew the truth was far more complicated. Laughter, family moments, but also the betrayal that overshadowed everything. When it was my turn, I stood, walked to the center of the room, feeling the weight of eyes upon me. "I love my children," I began, my voice steady, my heart racing. "They are everything to me, and I want to protect them. The truth is, I never imagined I'd be here, fighting their mother." The room was silent. "Did you know they weren't yours?" Sarah interrupted, her voice sharp. "You don't love me anymore, Nathan. You love the idea of being a father, but not what we are." Her words stung. I wouldn't let her win. "It's not about you, Sarah," I replied, trying to remain calm. "It's about them." Tears welled in my eyes. The room was divided. The hearing continued, each testimony deepening the wound. The children were at home, oblivious, and the thought of their pain tormented me. I had to be strong for them, even if it meant facing Sarah and her past. Hours of testimony, legal arguments, and the judge retired to deliberate. The silence was deafening. I looked at Sarah. For a moment, I saw the woman I loved, her fragility, her pain. I questioned if redemption were possible, but anger returned. I couldn't give in. The children needed me. The house was silent. Laughter and jokes were distant echoes, drowned out by pain and confusion. I tried to maintain a routine, but sadness clung like a shadow. Mario, my eldest, was quieter. Clara, my youngest, was lost in thought, her eyes reflecting emotions I couldn't comprehend. I sat on the living room floor, surrounded by scattered toys, and pulled Mario close. "Mario, are you okay?" I asked, stroking his hair. He looked at me. Those big, sad eyes. My throat tightened. Daddy, why doesn't Mommy come home? The question was a knife. I wanted to comfort him, but I was lost myself. She's going through a difficult time, son, but we're together, right? Let's take care of each other. I forced a smile but couldn't hide my sadness. The answer didn't comfort him. The silence was heavy. I decided I needed to see Sarah. I needed to understand. My heart pounded, a mixture of anger and love as I drove to the prison. The visit was agonizing. Each kilometer was a labyrinth of memories and emotions. In the cold room, with bare walls and a metal table, I waited, my stomach churning. Sarah entered, the orange uniform ill-fitting. She was a shadow of the woman I loved. Her eyes, once vibrant, were dull. Nathan, she began, but I interrupted. You betrayed me, Sarah. How could you do this to us, to the children? Anger boiled, alongside deep pain. I know. But I didn't want this. I loved you, Nathan. I still do, she said, her voice breaking. How could you hide this from me? I thought we were a family, I said, my voice trembling. How could you put all of this at risk? I was afraid of losing everything. I thought I could work it out. I thought everything would be okay, she replied, tears streaming down her face. And now, what do you expect? That I'll forgive and forget, I asked, trying to maintain composure, but I was confused. Part of me wanted to hug her, comfort her. Another part was consumed by anger. No, Nathan. I just wanted you to know. I never wanted things to come to this. I just want our kids to be okay, she said, looking into my eyes. And you think this is what they need? A mother in prison? My voice was desperate. Mark is back, Sarah. He wants to get closer to the children. What do you expect me to do? Her voice was urgent. Mark just wants to help. He might be a good influence. And I know this might sound weird, but you're still their father. I don't want you to lose them. Her words hit me like a wave. I was their father, and even through everything, I wanted to protect them. But how? Love and betrayal warred within me. The conversation, meant to be about our children, became an emotional battlefield. I need to go, I said, rising. I need to take care of them. And I don't know if I can continue this conversation now. Please, Nathan, she begged. But I was already leaving, the weight of decisions pressing down. The life I knew was gone. The only certainty was my love for the children. The courtroom was packed, tension hung heavy in the air. Sarah was there, lost, a shadow of the woman I knew. Pain and betrayal still burned, but my children were my priority. Innocent in this whirlwind of emotions and bad decisions. The judge called me to the stand. I stood, swallowing hard, and walked to the witness stand. Sarah's eyes were fixed on me, a mix of despair and hope. She was trying to shift the blame, as if I were responsible. Mr. Nathan, can you tell us what occurred between you and Miss Sarah? The judge asked. I took a deep breath. I discovered that my children are not biologically mine, I began, my voice trembling. I found a DNA test that proved this. From there, I began investigating Sarah's past. Were you aware that she may have had a relationship with another man? The judge pressed. No, I didn't know, I replied, anger rising. She deceived me. I feel betrayed. But what hurts me most is the thought of my children, who I love deeply, being caught in this. Sarah raised her hand. Nathan, please. You don't understand. I did it out of love. I didn't want to hurt you. Her voice was desperate, regretful. But I wouldn't fall for her emotional manipulation. You didn't do it out of love, Sarah. You did it out of selfishness, I retorted, tears welling. Children deserve to know the truth, and they deserve a home that isn't built on lies. The judge silenced Sarah. I continued, detailing Sarah's affair, her deception. Murmurs rose in the room. I saw the desperation in Sarah's eyes, but my heart sank. I didn't want to see the woman I loved sink further. When I finished, I sat down, exhausted. Sarah's lawyer began his questioning, cunningly exploiting weaknesses in my story. Nathan, do you really believe children don't love you for who you are, regardless of biology? This has nothing to do with love, I replied, trying to remain calm. They are my children, and I love them. But the truth needs to come out. They need to know who they are. The lawyer pressed, revealing details of Sarah's abusive childhood, explaining her disastrous decisions. The room fell silent. As hurt as I was, Sarah was also a victim. Do you still love her? The lawyer asked. I hesitated. I remembered the good times, the laughter, the promises. I don't know, I mumbled, my voice cracking. I loved her once, but this woman, she's not the same. The judge watched, assessing. I was torn between protecting the children and the love I still felt for Sarah, a love tainted by betrayal, yet still present. The day ended, my head reeling. Reason and emotion warred. I needed to make a decision impacting my life and the lives of my children. I needed to decide what was truly best for them.